The Harvard Business Review published an article in January 2012 entitled List of Audacious Ideas for Solving the World's Problems, which starts, "The new year begins precariously. The global economy vacillates between signs of recovery and omens of collapse. Businesses seem paralyzed. Even though they're sitting on $2 trillion in cash, they're risk-averse, strategically incremental, and notably lacking in fresh ideas. We think this stinks. The world needs invention and daring now more than ever. Now is the time for audacity, not austerity." Continuing global economic uncertainty feels like riding the dodgems at a fairground. Just as the global dodgem car, also known as the global economy, finally seems to be heading in the right direction and gathering speed, something bumps it off course. Most recently, the Eurozone debt crisis, concerns over a slowdown in China's growth, and record food and oil prices driving inflation are the latest in a long line of bumps on the road to economic recovery. One of the major repercussions of this uncertainty is stagnation, and South Africa is not immune as employers continue to tread water, with many delaying major projects or talent management decisions until economic conditions stabilize. At the same time, insecurity has led many IT staff to stay in current jobs on a better the devil you know basis. The consequence, as Accenture's The Path Forward research study conducted in November 2011 indicated, 57% of women and 59% of men are dissatisfied with their jobs, with a lack of opportunity or a clear career path cited as the biggest factors influencing job satisfaction. Despite this, 69% do not plan to leave their employers. On the surface, the economic downturn appears to have eased some of the challenges faced by IT management, most notably staff turnover. In reality, economic volatility has not greatly affected our IT skills market. We remain, as we have been for many decades, in the midst of a skills shortage, with the result that demand for top IT talent in key areas continues to outstrip supply, and costs, as always, are high. Stagnation, the enemy of innovation and creativity, hampers planning for the inevitable escalation of the war for talent that will come as recovery strengthens. To begin, I'd like to explore how the South African IT skills market has been impacted by the current economic climate and, most importantly, how it has remained largely unaffected. Finally, I'll look briefly at the consequences of stagnation in talent management. Validation of these concepts can be found both in various recent research surveys and in the 2011 PE Corporate Services Information Technology Salary Survey, released in October of last year and valid through the next 12 months. Firstly, evidence that our IT skills market has been impacted by the current economic climate. 3 areas stand out: staff turnover, staff shortages, and salary increases. Looking at staff turnover has declined steadily since 2008, when it hit a high of 22%. This year it has dropped to the lowest level recorded since 2004. The 2011 PE Corporate Services Survey reports that staff turnover among participating companies is down to 13% from 15% in the 2010 survey, which effectively means that only 13 out of every 100 IT people changed jobs during the past 12 months. Voluntary or employee-initiated terminations accounted for 68% of all movement, with better career prospects at 29% and higher pay, better employment conditions at 26%, remaining the leading reasons for turnover. Interestingly, retrenchment, the top reason for forced termination in the 2010 survey, dropped to second place behind dismissal due to poor performance, remaining steady at 7% in 2011. And staff shortages. The survey defines a staff shortage as occurring when an organization is unable to fill a particular vacancy, either through external recruitment or internal promotion. According to the survey, staff shortages have decreased overall from a high of 29% in the 2007 survey to only 6% this year. In reality, this means that only 6 out of every 100 IT positions available cannot be filled. And finally, salary increases. Insource.ICT defines salary increases as either formal or informal. Formal increases refer to increases usually based at least partly upon performance or upon fixed criteria that are offered to all employees at a set time in the year. Informal increases are those earned either through job change or through payment of a scarce skill premium. For the period from September 2010 to August 2011, participants in the survey reported a formal average annual percentage increase in total cost of employment across all IT areas of 7.3%, slightly down from the 7.4% awarded and projected in the 2010 survey. And participants expect this downward trend to continue in 2012, with the overall projected increase rate predicted to be down further at only 7.1%. Significantly, 11% of participants indicated that they intend to increase salaries by more than 9% in 2012, up from the 9% who indicated increases in the same range last year. To sum up, it is tempting to regard these figures as a clear sign that staffing is finally stabilizing. However, the impact of rising job dissatisfaction, as reported in the Accenture study, coupled with an inevitable rise in the demand for skills as the economy improves, cannot be ignored. It is likely that turnover and staff shortages will spike again within the next 12 to 18 months, as happened in 2004 and 2005. Turnover rose from a low of 10% in 2004 to spike at 21% the following year, and staff shortages jumped to 17% in 2005 after dropping to only 5% in 2004. If this happens, remuneration will definitely follow suit. Moving on to evidence that our IT skills market has remained largely unaffected by current economic conditions. The three key indicators of this are improving remuneration in niche scarce skill areas, an expected rise in both average job function breakdown and anticipated staffing changes over the next 12 months, and lastly, distribution of the IT budget increasingly focused on personnel. To start, improving remuneration in scarce skill areas. While the 2010 PE Corporate Services Survey indicated that, for the first time since 2003, salaries in the most affected or scarce skill areas remained fairly static, the 2011 survey indicates that the situation is improving. This year, both salaries earned and informal increases offered are up. To begin, the scarce skill areas are architecture, particularly data, systems and technical architects, systems development, also focusing on C#, business analysis, a new addition to this report, networking, focusing on high-end specialist skills, and management. In providing salary information in this presentation, I am merely offering a guideline based upon the results of the 2011 PE Corporate Services Survey and upon salaries earned by Insource.ICT's placed and database candidates. All salaries are quoted on a cost to company per annum basis. Looking at architecture first. This year, while informal increases earned are not as spectacular as in previous years, architects of all types continue to command high salaries. Participants in the 2011 PE Corporate Services Survey indicated that they are now paying data architects between $857,000 at the mid-level and $1.205 million, an effective increase of 2% across the board. Systems architects earn $958,000 at the median, going all the way up to $1.351 million, an increase of 6% at the maximum. This represents the highest increase earned in the architect category. Technical architects once again lead the way as the highest paid of all technical or non-management resources. They now earn $1.5 million as a maximum, an increase of 6%. Median salaries hover at the $1.088 million rand mark. Moving on to systems development. As a start, the PE Corporate Services Survey offers an interesting general benchmark as it provides information on trainee programmers, and senior programmers across all languages, from legacy through OO, web to e-commerce systems. In this year's survey, programming staff increases are not only the most generous earned by any of the scarce skill areas, they are also ahead of both actual and projected increase rates. Trainee programmers with up to 2 years of experience now receive salaries of between $265,000 per annum at the median and $399,000 at the top end, an increase of 16%. Programmers with between 2 and 4 years of experience now earn $477,000 per annum as a maximum, an increase of 13%, and $363,000 as a median. Participating companies indicated that they are paying senior programmers, those with more than 4 years of experience, between $498,000 at the median, with increases of 7% pushing maximum salaries to $705,000 per annum. And now looking at individual high-demand programming languages. Demand for C# skills continues, with the result that these people remain resolutely expensive. Insource.ICT's research indicates that C# developers with under 2 years of industry experience are currently earning between $300,000 per annum at the median and $400,000 at the top end, a slight increase on the 2010 figures. Mid-level C# developers or those with between 2 and 4 years of experience, are earning on average $360,000 per annum, with many earning in the region of $480,000. Senior C# developers with more than 4 years of experience are currently earning upwards of $600,000 per annum, with the smart few earning as much as $780,000 per annum, up on 2010. Moving on to a new category. Due to demand, we have for the first time this year included business analysts in this report. Earnings are on the rise. The 2011 PE Corporate Services Survey records that trainee business analysts with 3 to 5 years of experience are currently earning R406,000 per annum at the median and $543,000 at the top end, which represents increases of 13 and 15% on 2010 respectively. Business analysts with between 5 and 7 years of experience now earn $746,000 as a maximum, an increase of 9%. Median salaries hover around the $536,000 per annum mark. Senior business analysts, those with more than 7 years of experience, are paid between $703,000 at the median and $937,000. Moving on to network infrastructure. Network infrastructure salaries have, for the first time ever, broken the R1 million barrier in the 2011 survey. According to PE Corporate Services, earnings for network communications engineers with between 4 and 6 years of experience have increased by as much as 7%, moving from $470,000 at the median all the way up to $630,000 at the high end. Senior network communications engineers with up to 10 years of experience earn just over R1 million at the top end, with median salaries hovering around $686,000, which represents an increase of up to 8% at maximum. And finally, management. According to the PE Corporate Services Survey, CIOs continue to lead the earnings field. Chief Information Officers with more than 15 years of experience are earning R2.47 million, an increase of 6%. Middle management also continues to move ahead. A manager applications development with between 10 and 12 years of experience earns up to $1.6 million, up 6% on 2010, while a manager network communications engineering with 10 to 12 years of experience is earning up to $1.13 million, which represents a small increase on last year's survey. After a flat year in 2010, earnings are again improving. Companies who continue to offer competitive salaries to indispensable people may find themselves in a stronger position to retain staff as recovery broadens. Jumping to the second key indicator that our IT skills market has remained largely unaffected by current economic conditions, an expected rise in both average job function breakdown and anticipated staffing changes over the next 12 months. First, let's look at average job function breakdown. PE Corporate Services measures both the current and expected distribution of IT staff across various job categories as average job function breakdown. The results of the 2011 survey indicate that staff numbers are expected to increase significantly over the next 12 months in the following key scarce skill job categories. Management is expected to increase from 14 to 21% of overall IT staff. IT architecture is expected to nearly double from 5% currently to 9%. Systems development is expected to increase from 19 to 23%, and business and IT integration is expected to increase from 13 to 16%. Interestingly, the percentage of staff in business and IT integration has increased dramatically among participating companies in the 2011 survey, rising from 8% of overall staff in 2010 to 13% this year. And anticipated staffing changes, which measures intended increase or decrease in IT staff across the same job categories. This year, the survey shows that participants intend to increase staff numbers in all categories surveyed, with particularly impressive increases in 2 key areas. These are systems development, where the increase is expected to be 56%, and IT architecture, where the expected increase is 43%. Together, these results are clear evidence that strategic investment in key skills is expected to expand with economic recovery. The third and final key indicator that our IT skills market has remained largely unaffected by economic volatility: increased personnel costs. Evidence that companies intend to increase hiring and remuneration spend over the next 12 months to cope with the skill shortage can be found in how the IT budget is distributed by participants in the survey. In 2011, personnel costs remained the single largest item in the budget at 41%, up from 36% in the 2010 survey, and up still on the projected figure for the same period of 38%. It will be interesting, given that 2010's predictions for personnel spend were surpassed in 2011, to see whether participants will be able to remain within the 39% estimate set for 2012. Together, these three key indicators, improving remuneration, intended increase in staffing across key scarce skill areas, and rising personnel costs, show clearly that, despite economic volatility, our IT skill shortage has continued and will heighten with recovery, with consequences for the attraction and retention of key staff. To close off this section, I'd like to briefly look at the major consequence of stagnation in talent management. One of the primary consequences of stagnation is that it prevents planning for the inevitable escalation in the war for talent that will come with full economic recovery. Dr. John Sullivan, an American talent management specialist, defines a war for talent as a prolonged period of intense competition where top applicants are both scarce and arrogant, employees leave in droves, firms regularly raid each other, and bidding for top talent is commonplace. He believes that a resurgence of the war has already started, citing the fact that competition for talent in Silicon Valley has already returned to near 1999 levels, and that failure to plan adequately and early will leave firms unable to compete for top skills, impacting overall competitiveness. In South Africa, all indications are that our own war for talent is already underway. The need for a viable talent pipeline is paramount. However, perhaps the biggest challenge to the creation of such a pipeline is South Africa's limited ability to both compete for IT skills on the global stage and to keep these skills within our borders. The results of the most recent Hydrogen Struggles, The Economist's Global Talent Index report entitled The Outlook to 2015 shows that South Africa has serious challenges exacerbated by stagnation to overcome. Briefly, the GTI benchmarks 60 countries, both in 2011 and projected to 2015, on their capacity to develop, attract and retain talent using 7 key categories, the most critical of which in our context are education and openness. While South Africa ranked in 45th place overall in 2011, we are expected to drop to 46th by 2015. Our individual rankings in education and openness continue to hold us back. In quality of compulsory education, our ranking of 43 in 2011 is set to drop to 45 by 2015, while our quality of university education will fall to 50 from 48. In openness, which is based upon the restrictiveness of our labour legislation and our openness to international trade, foreign direct investment and foreign workers, South Africa is ranked 45th in 2011, expected to drop to 47th place by 2015. Encouragingly, Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan recently wrote a paper co-authored with Australia's Treasurer Wayne Swan, calling for credible structural reforms of our labour markets as a means of stimulating economic growth and promoting faster job creation, stating, "Reforms to the labour market will directly improve employment by providing flexibility and the right incentives to work, hire workers and develop skills." The consequences of stagnation in talent management are greater for South African companies as we struggle with the additional burden of skills attraction and development under trying conditions, as the Hydrogen Struggles Global Talent Index results show. In summary, volatile economic conditions have inevitably shifted the balance of power from employees to employers, creating what would appear on the surface to be a buyer's market for talent. Prolonged uncertainty has led to stagnation in talent management, with employers taking lower turnover, dwindling staff shortages, and reduced costs for granted. Despite this, key indicators, including remuneration and projected increases in staffing, show clearly that, economic volatility aside, our IT skill shortage has continued. A resurgence of the war for talent is inevitable, and South African companies will need to work hard to remain competitive. This is our reality. How are smart companies reacting to this reality and preparing for recovery? Smart companies understand that innovation and creativity, the antithesis of stagnation, are needed to deal with both current economic unpredictability and the coming war for talent. I'd like to share with you a few of the creative approaches we've noticed are being used by companies in your industry to reposition for recovery. Firstly, smart companies continue to pay top IT talent well and are exploring a revision to pay for performance schemes. As competitive remuneration remains the cornerstone of a good retention strategy, smart companies regularly benchmark earnings of key IT staff against industry surveys in order to ensure that they pay above market rates. They recognize that, particularly if they have been lulled into stagnation by economic uncertainty, they now face losing indispensable skills as recovery improves. Increasing salaries that have remained static through the downturn is a priority. In addition, they are investigating traditional pay-for-performance schemes, which, as the Harvard Business Review's list of audacious ideas shows, have 4 major flaws. These are inaccurately defined criteria. Defining accurate criteria for success is difficult as new challenges emerge constantly. Secondly, manipulation. Employees are able to manipulate criteria in their favor as they have better insight into the specifics of the job than management. Thirdly, multiple tasking occurs as employees focus exclusively on achieving set criteria at the expense of other important tasks. And finally, lowered motivation. Pay-per-performance reduces intrinsic motivation. Instead, smart companies look to use recognition, challenge, and awards as additional motivators. They also select employees carefully, hiring only those who are truly interested in the job. And they pay fixed compensation, but adjust it after comprehensive evaluation of an employee's work over a set period of time. Smart companies implement agile talent management models. Traditional workforce planning is unable to handle the numerous disruptive events that come with VUCA, talent management specialist Dr. John Sullivan's term for the unique combination of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity that now prevails. Smart companies realize that an agile talent management model that supports preparation for a range of potential scenarios and can shift to handle unpredicted events quickly is essential to remaining competitive. According to Dr. Sullivan, such models include agile employees. Adaptability, flexibility, and diversity are key characteristics of agile employees who are able to respond quickly to changing circumstances. These models also include agile processes. Particularly important are versatile talent management processes that encourage accelerated learning, internal movement of staff, use of contingent labor to allow for rapid increases in skills, fluid job descriptions, constant interviewing of top candidates aimed at building a bench, and innovation. They also include training in the model. The American military uses scenario planning simulation training to develop an aptitude for scenario planning in all of its brightest recruits, further growing their ability to identify and adapt to change. And finally, an agile talent management model includes competitive analysis. Gaining an understanding of market and competitor strategies is vital to success. Smart companies embrace smart working. They understand that while flexible work arrangements were cited by 64% of respondents in Accenture's research The Path Forward as the reason for staying put with current employers, it is important to look beyond merely offering flexibility in location or hours worked. Smart companies embrace what Capgemini defined in research for the UK's Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development as smart working, an approach to organising work that aims to drive greater effectiveness in achieving job outcomes through a combination of flexibility, autonomy, and collaboration, in parallel with optimising tools and working environments for employees. Simply put, smart working can be seen as an objective or a paradigm or a way of looking at the world that helps focus management on how to reorganize work to improve performance. Smart companies create smart working environments that feature a high degree of freedom to act, including autonomy and empowerment, the concept of virtuality in teams, a culture that is defined by high trust and collaboration, enabling freedom and supported by outcomes-based performance measurement, flexibility towards location and hours worked, and physical environments that feature advanced communications technology, ergonomic workspaces, and hot desking. Smart working creates climates that increase productivity and positively impact attraction and retention efforts, in addition to many other benefits. Smart companies actively explore untapped markets for talent. Traditionally, women and retirees are underrepresented in IT, and as such are untapped talent pools. Smart companies work hard to overcome what a report entitled Solutions to Recruit Technical Women, written for the Anita Borg Institute, labelled as consistent blind spots in recruiting and hiring practices that prevent companies from tapping into the full range of technical talent available. Firstly, women. Research by the USA's National Center for Women and Information Technology found that in 1991, women comprised 36% of the IT workforce, dropping to only 25% by 2009. In South Africa, the Maraka Institute reported that in 2006, women made up only 18% of all IT employees. This when 55% of college graduates globally are now female, as winning the war for talent in emerging markets while women are the solution, written by Hewlett and Rashid, observed. Smart companies actively seek to recruit women by using targeted recruitment sources, including rewarding female referrals from employees or alumni networks. They also rethink the meaning of culture fit in order to limit the effect of hidden bias. They've introduced flexible working solutions that accommodate family obligations, and they set targets for the hiring of women. Secondly, looking at retirees, as 5.7% of the South African population is 65 years or older, many experienced IT professionals have joined the ranks of retirees. Smart companies take steps to address this talent loss, including hiring retirees as contractors or consultants, often on a part-time basis, using them for knowledge transfer and mentoring of juniors. And finally, smart companies embrace boldness. According to Dr. John Sullivan, the coming war for talent will be won with bold action, not conservatism. Bold action includes seeking innovative ways to attract top talent. An example is DNA Nexus, a DNA sequence storage and analysis firm that offered a $20,000 referral bonus for a software engineer job and threw in a full genome sequence for the employee as a bonus. Boldness also means using technology to facilitate interviewing, removing time or travel as obstacles. HireView, an iPad app, enables live interviewing anytime from anywhere. Boldness also can mean creating fun incentives to improve efficiency and morale. Target, the American retailer, implemented a personal leaderboard game that reduced checkout times while boosting morale and efficiency. And in South Africa, Insource.ICT recently lost a software developer candidate to counteroffer. The reason? He was offered naming rights to the software that he had developed and a share in the profits from its sale. Smart companies boldly lure top talent. In summary, from the above it is clear that continued economic volatility has bred stagnation, hampering efforts to deal with our ongoing and increasing IT skill shortage. Smart companies boldly take action now. Thank you for the opportunity of presenting my thoughts to you. As always, I've been greatly impressed with the PE Corporate Services Survey. It remains a valuable management tool for every IT environment. Once again, I'd like to thank the PE Corporate Services team, in particular Deirdre van Grenen, who have made organizing this breakfast a pleasure. As I do every year, I'd like to encourage you, if you aren't already, to participate in the next PE Corporate Services Survey. It can only benefit your company. If you would like to access this type of information regularly, please contact me on the addresses below. I'd like to leave you with a thought from Eugene Debs, who said, "Intelligent discontent is the mainspring of civilization. Progress is born of agitation. It is agitation or stagnation. May you all agitate, not stagnate."